Good afternoon, everybody. This is Carter Conversations on May 31st. Um, Carter Conversations, as most of you are aware, is co-sponsored by Hyattsville Aging in Place, College Park Neighbors Helping Neighbors, and Explorations on Aging, and University Park Helping Hands, all of which are villages to try to help people continue to age in place if that is their choice. But I was reminded this week that because of that, a lot of people under 50 don't think that they can join in. So I do want to make it clear that it is for everybody, and we try to have the topics varied and of interest to lots of people. So for you regulars, you know how that goes. But I am delighted to introduce Stacey of Made in Maryland. This has just been my go-to place since they opened in College Park in the City Hall 2 years ago, probably. My first venture there was they had all these darling things, and if you spent $100, you got this really cute tote bag. And I'm thinking, I'm not going to spend $100. They're greeting cards and honey and candles. That'll never be 100. Well, I stocked up. I have this really cute tote bag, so I highly recommend it. Um, the person to give the credit to, of course, is Stacey Price, who I want to almost say single-handedly, it's her idea, but she does have a partner in crime, Michael Babin, who is with the Neighborhood Restaurant Group. Still, Stacey? I
Yep.
mean, there's still, yeah. Stacey, just a little background about her. Stacey was the executive director of Think Local First DC. So you can see where the thought process is going to go here. She's launched numerous campaigns and events for small businesses, universities, and consumer brands. Her mission is to transform economics by supporting and strengthening small businesses and local artists and entrepreneurs. She started Shop Made in Maryland in 2017, I think. Yeah, 2017 in DC, and now has 9 stores in a very short period of time in the area. I'm making it a mission to get to them all at some point, but
Oh, Marianne, I will give you another tote bag if you can show me that you have visited
you don't
all the
have the cute
stores.
ones anymore. But I'll take a tote bag. Okay. Um, Stacy, if you really are to be commended. My personal comment is that to give local artists and craftspeople a chance to display their wares is just fabulous. They change, the inventory changes all the time, although the regular things that you know and love, you can continue to get under most cases. And I don't know if, Stacey, you'll probably go into this. I don't know if all the made in shops have, but this one in particular has a coffee bar, and then they serve wine. I don't know if that's all day or just in the evening. And they have big communal tables so that it's just wonderful. We've held meetings there, and students go in and do papers on their computers and stuff. It's a wonderful gathering place. So with high regard and applause, I introduce you to Stacey Price, who it's her idea, and she's gotten this really rolling.
Marianne, thank you. You're now my spokesperson.
Well, I'll be happy to be your commercial.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you guys for having me today. I'm always glad to talk about what we're doing, especially because it's not just what we're doing, but it's the hundreds and now close to 1,000 businesses that are in our network that I love the opportunity to talk about. So I'm going to give you a little background. As Marianne said, we now have 9 stores, but this did not start out as as a business. I wasn't looking to start a business. As she said, I've been working in economic development and community building for longer than I wish to tell you. But 7 years ago, or now what is 8 years ago, I had an idea, and it was I had spent most of my career preaching localism, telling consumers, individuals like yourself, why you should shift your dollars locally. And what I would hear consistently from people is that the reason they didn't was because it wasn't, they felt like they couldn't get everything that they needed by local, or it wasn't convenient. And then I would see all these individuals, like the makers you see on the screen, schlepping their goods, and spending too much of their time at outdoor markets, trying to reach those consumers. And that's just a tough life. And so I had this grand idea. What would happen if we created a place, a space that consumers like yourself could go to support people, the makers in their community, 7 days a week, and could consistently find high quality goods. I wanted to change your mindset of what locally made was. And so I had this experiment, and the mayor's office here in DC gave me, a little portion of money that felt like a lot of money at that time period. Now I laugh, that I got that first store started with so little. But our first store was a store and cafe, very similar to the Shop Made in Maryland space in DC. And that the communal tables and the areas that Marianne was talking about was integral to that experiment, because we wanted to, one, see if we could grow those brands, but also we wanted to build community. And when we wanted to build community amongst our makers, and so we wanted a place where it could be their clubhouse, but we also wanted to build community around creativity, right? So consistently you hear that, DC is one of the hard, people who live here are always working, they're always on their phones, they're super busy. We live in a time where people are completely connected all the time, and I wanted people to get away from their computers and put down their phones, and just like Maddie's doing right now, I wanted them to use their hands to create things. And I knew that by bringing our makers in as teachers, and having consumers learn to create, it would actually make them understand that things that they want to purchase are made by humans, and that it's harder than you think. And so thus began what is now Shop Made Brands, in 2017. When we opened that space, I learned very quickly that my role in all of this is less as the preacher of localism, and more as the person that creates the space for it to happen. So now we have 9 stores. We have close to 1,000 makers. We have concepts in DC, Virginia, and Maryland. And we're supporting makers. The DC stores support DC makers. The Maryland store supports Maryland makers, and the Virginia store, of course, supports Virginia makers. And we are constantly thinking of ways to help the makers that aren't quite ready to be on our shelves. So as Marianne said, you can walk into any of our stores and you find greeting cards and jewelry and apparel and you name it. There are people out there making it, and we search for retail ready makers who have high quality products, who are ready to stock our stores. The Maryland space is unique. it's just like that original space that we only had for 2 years. But it is unique now in our family because it is the only space that has a coffee shop in it, coffee, and it also sells Maryland wine and beer and cider and kombucha, and you name it, you can get it there. And so we love that, and we love the community we can build there. Another thing that's unique about the Maryland space is that we have the use of that outdoor plaza. And so we have make shop markets, is what we call it, where we're very literal, shop made in Maryland, make shop market. We always have an open craft activity you can do at the markets, as well as shopping emerging brands. These emerging brands, this gives us opportunities to support individuals that are not ready to be on our shelves, but giving them that consumer access. So we often take those make shop markets on the road. Next week we'll be at Trolley Day. I don't know how many of you guys will be at Trolley Day, but we will be at Trolley Day. I think we're making friendship bracelets there. So stop by and get a free friendship bracelet. I'm sure we'll have some watercolors set up. And then I think 20 makers that are not in our stores. And we really like to be the conduit between people making things and the consumer. Um, this slide is, I'm realizing, is not completely correct. I think at this point we've put over $11 million back into makers' hands, which is exciting. These individuals, again, they get more than the opportunities to be on our shelves. They get technical assistance by us. They get access to capital. We have all kinds of partnerships that allow us to strengthen that maker that's in our spaces. When we opened that space in College Park, we were asked by we got we it was the first time we got city support, just like we did in the opening of the first DC store. The College Park community really embraced us, and that felt amazing. We got a little pocket of money, and some of that money had us commit to having X amount of makers be from Prince George's County. So you'll see that in the space. You'll see maker profiles beside everybody's product. If you ever have questions, if you say, oh, I only want to support makers of color or women makers, our team can help you connect to those individuals. Um, again, the various location, you'll see that the top right image here shows the College Park location, the bar and the cafe, the stores around it, communal tables. You at any point in time, and Marianne does this often, you can ask us to block off those tables for you to have a meeting. We want you to use our spaces. Our spaces are not just for shopping. We want to be the place that I want to be the retail museum for you. I want you to walk in and get inspired by the way things look and smell. And we have murals in all of our locations, and all of our furniture is built by makers. We really just want you to be inspired creatively in our spaces. We want you to, again, in the spaces that have classroom tables, we want you to feel like that area is yours to use however you want. We have open crafting several times a week. We call them crafternoons, where we offer free supplies. You don't even need to purchase anything in our spaces. We just want you to come and create. Again, that you'll see that the top right image you're looking at was that original Shop Made in DC store in DuPont Circle. Marianne, it looks a little like College Park, right? It feels like it, with the back counter being the coffee shop and cafe, and then the communal space. This is the photo that you see is a free craft night. We often allow our our teachers to come in and do walk-up activations. So you might come in one day and be able to screen print your own tote or other activities that you don't have to buy tickets to. It's really important for us. That's why we do crafternoons and we do $20 wine and watercolors. It's important for us to have very low entry opportunities, inclusive opportunities for people to come and create and be in our spaces. So, the products we sell, you'll see range from, a $3 postcard to a $300 blanket. We have original art that's, $3,000, but we also have original art that's $50. I want everyone to feel like they can come into our spaces and take home something that is made in that area, whether they're a tourist wanting to take something back or they're a local that's wanting to invest in their own community. I want that to happen across the board. So it's also important. So I told you that when I am the lead curator still for our spaces. I interview every single maker that comes in. I know them. I have a philosophy. I don't ever want to do business with anybody that I don't want to have dinner with. I want to make sure that we are supporting lovely humans, that are, serious about what they're doing. Selfishly, I just like to know these individuals. And it's the greatest perk of my job. So we not only look for people that are retail ready, but I curate with the lens of giving preference to minority owned businesses. And so that might be a women owned business or businesses of color. This is something that is very close to my heart and very woven into our mission. So you will see that not only do we give priority on our shelves to that, but we give micro grants and spotlights in our stores to makers that fit this category. One of the ways that we've been able to give back, I love playing with other people's money. Back to my days of preaching localism. I love, large corporations have large budgets. They have much larger budgets than we do as consumers. So one of my favorite things is still to work with these larger corporations to shift their dollars to local business. So we have a quite robust corporate gift giving program and corporate activation program, where we create gift boxes and gift bags and we have now close to 1,000 clients that we work with all over the U.S. and we are privileged that we are located where we are because we get to meet all these people that come into DC for meetings and workshops and advocacy, and so we get to work with them not only while they're here, but moving forward. And so you'll see, as a consumer, you can buy these beautifully curated gift boxes, or we can help you with more compilation style gifts. I have a whole team that does it. But if you are organizing a conference or you have friends at Capital One, please spread the word that we can localize those opportunities as well. One of the things are one of our biggest growing activities or parts of our business that wasn't there in the beginning are DIY activations. And Maddie, you said that I think it was you or Marianne that said that COVID brought us Zoom. Well, COVID also birthed this DIY, outsourcing DIY. So I told you guys when we opened in 2017, we had that community space. We started having classes and workshops and the ability to host people to create in our space from day one. But what happened in 2020 was people would say to us, "Can you actually ship DIY activities to us? Can you hold Zoom calls and have, ship kits and have people create? And so we started doing that. And now we still do some of that virtual stuff, but now we're constantly, my teams are in people's office places. That they're set up at large conferences. We're in apartment communities, bringing DIY to individuals. And so that is really cool. So we're doing everything from, you know, one of my most fun things that I got to participate in recently that my team's been doing for like a year and a half now is we call it this or that. So, when you go to a conference and they give you like a tote bag filled with stuff, well, we're deconstructing that. So we're setting up the like conference is paying us for the goods, and you as a attendee of the conference actually get to build your own gift bag, and we get to tell you about the makers that you're putting their items in your gift bag. And so that's been a fun experience, and it allows us to put large sums of money in these makers' hands. Again, much more than you buying a $50 gift box. We're able to in one day give each maker, $5,000, which is great. And so we're doing things like that. We're always open to hosting private shopping parties in our stores, anything that allows us to have more one-on-one access to consumers where we can tell them about our makers or bring our makers in for them to meet consumers. We're excited about that. So as Marianne told you guys, I used to run a nonprofit for years. I said, I don't want to do a nonprofit again. I want to do it a different way. Well, the saying, everywhere you go, there you are. Well, I'm back at it. So last fall, I decided that I was leaving money on the table by not having a nonprofit arm of what we're doing. There's lots of companies that want to give tax deductible donations, and there's lots of good we can do with that. So I launched a nonprofit arm of what we're doing called Shop Made Foundation. And we now are able to channel a lot of the things that we were already doing, the micro grants, the education for makers, but we're now channeling it through the foundation and using more than our money to give back. So this year we gave we doubled our CDC micro grants during Women's History Month. We're going to do our first large maker summit in the fall, and all of that is because of grant money, and it's because of the foundation, and all of that will strengthen the artists and the makers that are in our network, as well as allow us to extend to people outside of our network. So I'm going to just leave you with one very clear task, and that is invest in our makers. You can do it however you would like, but it could be that I'm giving you $10 to spend in any of our stores. You can spend it inside of our stores. You can spend it online. You can spend above that $10. You can just buy one $10 thing. You can have it shipped to yourself or shipped to a friend. But I want to give you $10 to invest in someone or many someones in our network. These makers and artisans are the people that make our communities more interesting. They make our streets more colorful. And I want to do everything in my power, especially in the economic climate that we're in, to keep them in business and keep them living in the DMV area. So thank you guys.
Thank you, Stacey. That's amazing. You've got all that done in 9 years. I mean, it's just astounding. The nonprofit arm is really creative. I'm not familiar with a lot of people doing that, so I think, or with anybody doing it, that
Yeah.
really is fabulous. And of course, no offense, David, but we women really do love having women and minority-owned businesses and all of that. Um, I remember the first time before, right before you opened that Christmas, and there was the outside vendor thing, on
Yep.
Knox Street. The tea lady, and I forget her name, but she crafts those wonderful teas. She hit all the buttons. I bought everything she had practically.
Yeah.
She was African American, she was lesbian, she was, I don't know, there were two or three other things, and
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
thought, what? And she doesn't broadcast it, it came
Yep.
up in conversation, but it was just really wonderful. And to see occasionally a neighbor's stuff that you had no
Yeah.
clue that they did that kind of stuff. It's
Yeah.
really terrific. I noticed that in the chat there was a question about do you like put your show on the road? You didn't talk about that. Mary Ann, do you want to ask it directly or you're muted?
Yep. Yes, we're holding a wildlife bazaar. This is for the Patuxent Research Refuge. We do this annually. We're into our 13th year, and it'll be the first Saturday in November. And I was thinking perhaps one of these outreach craft type activities would go very well
Yeah.
with people attending the bazaar. How could I contact someone
Yeah.
about
So,
that?
I'm gonna put my email address in this chat. Hold on.
Okay.
Can't talk and type at the same time. Uh, hold on one second, and you can send it to me, and then I can connect you with the right individual.
Thank you.
Yeah, we always are, we're always open to opportunities. Sometimes we have the woman power to do it, and sometimes we don't, but I like to consider everything. The more we can be out there, that to me is the best marketing you can do, is to be out in the community. And for me, it's not having a booth out in the community, it's having like an area where we can create with people and bring a piece of our space outside. So that those are the types of things I'm very interested in.
So consistent. I was just thinking with Hyattsville Aging in Place, Neighbors Helping Neighbors, Explorations on Aging, and the sponsors of this, in that what we are also trying to do is create that sense of community, and to, particularly for seniors, but not specifically, to get them out of their homes,
Yeah.
to help them to not be isolated, to give them contacts and stuff. So that's really wonderful. I think the more people that get involved in that, the better.
Yep. Agreed. We love so many people come to our open crafting or our classes solo. They don't, so it's important for me to for people to understand you don't have to know someone to come. You can just show up and you make friends. It's lovely. It's I unfortunately don't take part in them as much as I wish I did, but when I do, I built this for me. Selfishly, I built it for me. That's what I wanted. I didn't want to necessarily go and just meet someone for a happy hour. I wanted to do something with them. And so I always, when I was in college, I held like a crafternoon in my apartment on Sundays. So again, 46-year-old Stacey is the same as 20-year-old Stacey. I again just like having opportunities to meet and just hold space with people. We all need that. Community is so important.
Especially after COVID and being stuck
Yeah.
on Zoom forever.
Yeah. Yep.
Are the
um,
classes online, Stacey?
Yeah, so everything's online. So you guys have the links in this. I think this presentation will be shared with you. The links to all of our websites. Every website has classes in that area. So if you're living in Maryland and you want to look specifically at the Maryland classes, you can look at shopmadeinmaryland.net. The other twos are shopmadeinvirginia.com, shopmadeindc.com. If you wonder why we are shopmade in Maryland is .net, please find the person who stole my URL. um and won't let me buy it back. But those, you can find classes at each one of those. And our classes and anytime, if you guys have groups that you think might be interested in taking our classes, I can give you a special group code so that people can get discounts at these classes specifically for Maryland, because I will just tell you that we have, it's still a baby store. It's still in its, it's barely 2 years old, and it is heavily affected by the university. And so we've had a harder run with classes there. And so if you guys have anyone that you think that would enjoy a discount code that would help get butts in seats, that's what we call it, for classes, I would love to share it with any of you. I would like to also host you guys. If anybody on this call, I'll share with Carter and Marianne after this call. I'll give you guys, I would love you to have a class on me. Come and be in our space and see what it feels like and see what a class is like, because you will come back.
And this is Michelle. I'm thinking that this is an awesome opportunity for like a field trip for maybe the Hyattsville group or other groups. And it started with the thought, hearing about your cafe and shop, to just contact you and try and reserve a table for some window of time. But
100%.
maybe we could do even more with the class or something
Yeah,
like
and
that.
I'm glad to, like, if we put something on the books, I'm glad to meet you there and lead some sort of activity myself, or bring a teacher in. You guys just tell me what works. The more people we get into that space, our DC stores are established, but our Richmond store is new, our College Park store is new. To me, I just want people in the space. Once you come in the space and you see it, you will, or you have our coffee, or you have our wine, or you have any of those Maryland made products, you're gonna come back. And so anything that I can do to have you guys help me be third party advocates, bringing people in, I'm glad to do it.
And who would be the person to contact for that?
Me, and then I'll connect you with the right person.
Okay.
This is Mady Siegel. I have several questions.
Yeah.
One is, would it be helpful for me to donate things like wool so that people could use them to knit?
Yes.
Knitter.
Yes, of course.
I also wanted to know if it would be any use if I donate things that I have made that could be given to people who can't afford to buy them.
Oh, well, that's very sweet. I don't, I mean, I think we could have some sort of like pop up. I don't know that we can have them donated and us give them, but like maybe let's explore that opportunity. But 100%, if anybody, we often, people drop off art, like craft supplies to us, or magazines for collaging, all of that stuff we put out for those crafternoons. So we source them. I often see stuff on the Buy Nothing Network and pick it up and take it to the stores. And then we buy stuff, but yes, 100% we take.
As a knitter, we have this expression, sable, stash accumulated beyond life expectancy. And that's where I am at my age.
Heard.
So I'm happy to give things away. I also like to make things that I do knit. Here's what I'm knitting now. It's going to be a scarf. And I like to give them away.
I love it. That's great.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
Just an aside, if you really have a surplus, the Women's Club, University Park Women's Club. It's the Women's Club at University Park. You don't have to live in University Park. Anyway, they every year give things to the Prince George's Day Center. They have a number of unhoused people that the church that we work out of has unhoused people. So scarves and hats are always very welcome. Not to worry, we can get rid of it. And your stuff is just beautiful. So. Michelle, I just wanted to add too that if you wanted to do something, I encourage you to do it over the summer while the students aren't there. I mean, it'd just be easier for them, I'm sure, to schedule space and stuff. And there's free parking in the garage right across the street from Maiden, Maryland, all summer. So,
All right.
That might be a good time.
Thank you.
Is there anything I'm missing? I haven't paid any attention to the chat, Carter.
I was just double checking. Jean Menace noticed that space is lovely. Had no idea you'll have classes, so I'll be there soon. Thank you for the presentation. And then the other questions, Mady, if you said you had several questions. Did you get through all of them?
Yeah, I think I did. Yeah, thank you. I'll have more later, probably.
Well, feel free to, I mean, I just offered you guys my email address. Feel free to reach out, ask anything. And, you know, like I said, I definitely am glad to host you guys in whatever capacity in the space.
When I got up, it was to go get a piece of paper to write down your email address.
Sounds good.
Stacey, I had one question. How do you find your the people that you work with, your crafters, your makers?
So we have every website has an application. So it says apply to be a maker. And so people apply. I have over 100 makers apply monthly to the
Wow.
spaces. It's crazy. It just like blows my mind. It's my most fun thing to do. I'll pour a glass of wine and go through applications. It's so inspiring to see people's businesses. So we curate from those lists, and then also often we're out seeking, right? So I go to, you know, my work is also my hobby. I love beautiful things. I love to be out in the community. I'm always at farmers markets and makers markets and community events. And so I'll meet people there and I'll say to them, apply to be in the store, or on Instagram, I'll see, you know, a brand that I don't know about. And so we really do, we both seek and receive makers, but there's no shortage of talent. So if you guys know anyone who's interested in to being in the stores, please have them apply. That is the fastest way, and I am the first line of defense in those maker applications.
Thank you.
100%. I'm seeing Gail's notice in the chat. Just tell me what just reach out to me to coordinate that. I'm glad to come to you guys, or you come to us. Just let me know how I can help. And I think Mary Ann can contest to this, but our manager at our Maryland store is lovely. She is great. The only reason I'm not sending you direct to her is that I like to help her do these things so that she doesn't get overwhelmed. She is, you know, busy leading that team and making delicious coffees and keeping that space in tip-top shape. So anything that I can do on the partnership end of things or on the class end of things, I pick up the slack for all of the stores in that regard.
I was just going to say she does make a mean cinnamon latte.
Oh my God, she's so great. I have to just tell you, like, I am the luckiest gal in the world. I walk into that space and they put either a matcha lemonade in my hand or an iced Americano, and it doesn't get much better than that.
So where exactly is that space?
So it's at the corner of Baltimore Ave and Knox Road. So it's the City Hall, the newer City Hall building. Um, it's right across from Lado's Pizza.
Okay.
Michelle, if you're driving up Route 1, Baltimore Boulevard, I'm supposed to call it, you'll pass it, what I'm going to tell you, but you notice this big plaza out in front. So it's set back. The building is set back from the road, and there's this big plaza in front that's got yellow tables and chairs. And on the corner side, a little easier to see, is the beer worst. What's that called? I can't. It's
The
like a beer garden thing. It has
yeah, Doghouse.
doghouse. That sign will be real obvious for you. That's all in the same complex.
Okay.
Sort of across from CVS, that CVS on Baltimore Boulevard.
Yes.
But the parking is, you would turn on Knox, and the parking garage will be on your right.
The Cornerstone
Okay.
Pub is right there, if you know where that is.
Yeah.
And City Hall is Cornerstone, and Lido's is behind it. That's where Knox is. And you can turn there and go into the garage. And City Hall is, you can sometimes find free parking behind it also.
Michelle, you may know the Cornerstone if you've been around for a while. It used to be the
I-
Boo, the famous Boo. I haven't ever been in it since it's been the Cornerstone. I can't imagine they could ever get it clean, but I'm sure it's perfectly acceptable. Well, Stacey, this was fabulous. You know I'm a big fan, and you're really to be congratulated. This is just astounding that you come up with all of this. And you keep growing with the generosity of things in mind, helping others, getting people out, building community. I think that's what makes it all so special.
Yeah. It's how it started.
Yeah, and it's going,
It's our, and I have to just tell you guys that we have the most amazing team of individuals that come to work for us because of that mission and because we are doing what we're doing in from a generosity standpoint. People don't necessarily come to us to work in retail or to work in a cafe. They come to us because they know that we are supporting people in the community, and so that feels really good.
it's really a fun store. Normally we don't do commercials, but when you started in DC for a minimal amount of money, last month Mike Franklin was here, as in Franklin's down in Hyattsville, the restaurant,
Yeah.
and he started in 1992, I think, and bought that corner building for something like $195,000.
My God, that's amazing.
So, out of little things grow huge things.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Yep.
it's really wonderful.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. It was nice to virtually meet all of you, Mary, and it's always a pleasure to see you. I look forward to seeing you guys in the space sometime soon.
Thank you so much. Now
Yeah.
go spend the afternoon unpacking boxes.
Oh my gosh. If anyone would like to help, no, I'm just kidding. You guys enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see each other soon. Take care.
Thank you, Stacey, very much.
Bye.
Thank you.
For everybody else, before we go, I just wanted to tell you that the next Corridor Conversations is June 28th. And that will be Heidi Weber, who will do a talk on fraud and scams, specifically for seniors, in that we as an older group are now we're prime targets for these very sophisticated scammers. And I just wanted to say, this is not your typical, don't answer the phone, don't click on that kind of presentation. She goes into some really sophisticated stuff because the scammers are really quite sophisticated. So Mary Ann, are you still here? If you come, she's actually going to be our presenter at the College Park Woods Clubhouse on June 7th. So
June 4th.
June 4th, excuse me, June 4th. So that will be the next one. July, we're having an ex-military guy who's going to talk to us about fitness and nutrition. So we can have beach bodies for when we go to Bethany and see Mady and David.
Wishful
And-
thinking. Wishful thinking,
Yeah,
Mary
indeed,
Ann.
indeed. Carter, am I leaving anything else out?
No, I think that's where we're scheduled to at this point, but we are continuing to put together programs and we'll announce them soon. And yeah, please check out the HyattsvilleAgingInPlace.org website or the websites at Neighbors Helping Neighbors College Park or University Park, Helping Hands University Park, and all the great things that all of our different groups are doing.
We appreciate your coming. Hopefully it will be a quiet rest of the weekend. And we'll see you in a month, if not before.